Former Telltale developers have teamed up and founded a new studio. This patch is their first game. Have they managed to reach the level of their best games, such as Walking Dead and Wolf Among Us? Find out in this review. Hello everyone, welcome to the Level Kenner channel. In this video, we'll take a look at the latest hit in the gaming world, this patch, and evaluate whether it's worth playing. So what exactly is this patch? Like previous games from Telltale, it's an episodic adventure game with very little gameplay, emphasizing mainly the story and the choices you can make, which can greatly influence it. Or so the developers claim. More on that later. You play as Robert Robertson, also known as Mecha Man. He is a robot pilot who uses his robot to keep order in LA, so he's a superhero. However, after his father's death, he is left on his own and ends up paying for it with the loss of his robot in a battle with the main villain, Shroud. Without his robot, he can't do much until he is approached by Blonde Blazer, the head of the local branch of the SDN, an organization that rehabilitates criminals with superpowers and turns them into heroes. She chooses Robert as the dispatcher, the guy who is in charge of a team of such villains and manages their activities from his office via a computer screen. How will Robert deal with a bunch of as a former superhero? How will he build a relationship with them, coordinate them, and turn them into a good team? Will he and SDN manage to repair the robot and take revenge on Shroud? These are all questions that, as the game promises, you will be able to influence with your choices in the game. But in reality, this is not the case. The options are mostly cosmetic and have little effect on how it all turns out. It's an illusion of choice. You feel involved and like you're doing something, but almost everything is predetermined for you. The endings of the game will mainly differ in which characters you choose for your romance, how you deal with the main villain of the game, and whether you manage to turn one important bad character into a good one. Nothing else matters, and you can't influence it. Compared to games like Detroit, Become Human, or The Quarry, which have incredible elaborate branching options for how the story will turn out based on your choices, this game doesn't even come close in that regard. Okay, so you can't really influence the story, but is it at least good? I would say yes, and it's one of the game's strengths. Not that there are many other aspects of this game that can be rated highly. Despite how the game looks, it is not woke at all. You won't find any elements often found in other games developed for a modern audience. No comments on gender, racial inequality, or capitalism. And that's a good thing, because what's left is a nice story that everyone can enjoy. You watch Robert's relationship with those around him develop, and you gradually grow fond of the individual characters. Whichever romance you choose, both are good choices that are equal partners for Robert, each in a slightly different way. The dialogues sometimes suffer from the so-called millennial writing. That is, they're just a little cringe and sound like something you would read on Reddit rather than hear somewhere in real life. But it's not that bad, and sometimes the game can even make you laugh. The other characters beside your romances are also good, chases like your big brother with your big heart. The superhero team you're in charge of is similar. What at first seems like an irredeemable bunch of idiots turn into a pretty nice crew that has your back. The weakest part of the story is probably the ending, which fails to keep up with the pace of the previous episodes and drags on a bit in episodes 7 and 8. In addition, some things just didn't make sense to me. Warning, spoilers ahead. The main villain, Shroud, can predict the probability of everything, but he cannot use this ability to predict that he will lose the final last battle. Nor can he predict which drive you will give him is the right one and which is the wrong one. And how did Robert's dog, which he uses to threaten Robert, get onto the roof of the building in the first place? And why can't Chase just steal it with his super speed? And I haven't even mentioned Invisigal, who betrays you not once, not twice, but 3 times. The third time I thought to myself, seriously? The writers clearly ran out of ideas. The story is also related to one big part of the game the developers boasted about, and that is the voice acting. The game cast Hollywood star Aaron Paul in the lead role and added YouTubers such as Moist Critical and Alana Pierce in supporting roles. I think everyone will agree on Aaron Paul. He showed his caliber as a seasoned actor and his performance is the best in the game. He's great to listen to and adds character to his role as Robert. But what about the YouTubers who don't have much experience with voice acting? Here, opinions are divided. Their fans are thrilled that they got into the game, and haters probably hated them even before they heard them play their characters. I'm somewhere in the middle. I don't follow either of them, so I don't really care. I think they did an okay job and didn't distract me from the game, but they didn't impress me either. Moist Crit could have delivered a few lines better, but it wasn't that bad. Nevertheless, next time the studio should hire professional actors and not YouTubers to promote their game. What about gameplay? There are 3 activities you will encounter in the game: quick play events, hacking, and dispatching. I have good news for some and bad news for others. Gameplay can be almost completely skipped and nothing will change. If you fail to react in time, even once in QTE, you'll get at most one extra scene where your robot gets hit, but that's it. Otherwise, the result is exactly the same as if you had reacted perfectly. Hacking is so easy that it's extremely annoying. I think you have to complete a few hacking selections, but otherwise they are optional. And the last and biggest part is dispatching. You control your superhero team by sending individual members to situations that are taking place on the map, and you try to assign them to situations that suit their abilities. This part of the game is highly praised, but I didn't like it at all. The description of the situations is deliberately vague, so that you send the wrong hero and fail the task. Moreover, even if you send the best you have, success is still not guaranteed. The whole system depends on chance, and if you're unlucky, you're just unlucky. Towards the end of the game, this system annoyed me so much that I decided to find out what would happen if I did nothing, and I discovered that nothing will happen at all. You can simply walk away from your computer during these game sections, and the outcome will be exactly the same as if you had completed them 100%. The exceptions may be some achievements if you are interested in them, and at the end you have to complete one specific task to unlock one option at the end of the game, redeeming one of the villains. But that's such a small and insignificant choice that I don't think it matters at all. This whole dispatch segment is really just there to get to know your team. Without it, the game would be half as long. The last thing worth mentioning about the game is the art style. It surpasses previous games from Telltale. It looks much more natural, and it really feels like you're watching a series rather than playing a video game. Okay, that's probably all I have to say about the game, so let's move on to the final verdict. The game suffers from misleading advertising. Your choices play a much smaller role than the developers claim. You can only get one ending with minor variations. The gameplay is primitive, and despite all the praise, I think it has room for improvement. The strongest aspect is the story, which fortunately is the largest part of the game, and it is good. The characters are likable, and you will grow fond of them. The game was quite successful, and I'm interested to see what will happen in the next installment, which I hope will have better gameplay, or, alternatively, the removal of gameplay segments that have no impact on the game and will be replaced by cutscenes. I also hope for greater influence on the story through choices. Despite all these flaws, the game has left me wanting more, and I don't consider my time very wasted. 6.5 out of 10. Okay, that's it for today's video. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of the game, who your favorite character was, and what you want to see in future episodes. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you in the next video.